When you turn 80, life does not feel the same as it did in your 70s. Certain changes quietly happen inside your body and mind, whether you like it or not. But these are not frightening illnesses. They are natural milestones in the journey of aging. Think of it like a great river that has flowed through many monsoons and dry seasons. By the time it reaches the lower plains, the water is no longer rushing like in the early days. Instead, it carries rich silt that nourishes the land it touches. Turning 80 is just like that. Your body and mind may no longer run on the old rhythms, but in return, you have experienced depth and a perspective on life richer than ever before. I know that for many people in India, crossing the 80-year mark brings worry. Some fear weakness, others fear memory loss, and some fear being left behind in family gatherings or community life. But the truth is, if you understand these natural changes and learn how to live in harmony with them, you will see that 80 is not the closing chapter, it is the beginning of a new one full of meaning. Today, I am going to share with you 5 changes that will happen to everyone once they turn 80. These are changes that people from busy cities like Mumbai to peaceful villages in Kerala all go through. Some of these changes may surprise you. Some might worry you at first. But one of them, the 5th change, may actually bring you a smile because it is a gift of freedom very few expect. What I'm about to share is not just theory. It is based on science, on real-life stories, and on the wisdom of those who have already walked this path. Together, we will explore why your energy and sleep patterns shift, how your social circle naturally filters itself, why your relationship with time transforms what happens to your memory, and finally, the most beautiful change of all, how you begin to live more truly as yourself. If you are already in your 80s, about to reach it, or caring for a loved one at this stage of life, I invite you to listen closely. Because when you understand and embrace these changes, you won't just live healthier, you will feel more content and fulfilled each day. So what is the first thing that happens when you step into your 80s? Let us begin with the change you will notice most clearly: your energy and your sleep. The very first change you will notice at 80 is that your energy and your sleep follow a completely different rhythm. This is not just about feeling tired. It is about your body operating on a new timetable, one that is more suited to this stage of life, but also one that many people resist at first. Let us understand what is really happening. Inside your body, you have something called the circadian rhythm, your natural internal clock. For decades, it has been guiding you, telling you when to feel awake and when to feel sleepy. But after 80, this clock naturally shifts earlier. You might find yourself ready to sleep at 8 or 9 p.m. and waking up naturally at 5 or 6 a.m. even without an alarm. Your energy peaks will mostly come in the morning and late morning. You might notice a dip after lunch around 2 p.m., and this dip is sharper now than it was in your younger years. This is not a sign of weakness. It is simply your body telling you the hours when it works best. There is another change too. Your sleep architecture, the way you move between deep and light sleep, changes with age. You will spend more time in light sleep and less in deep restorative sleep. This means you may wake up more often during the night. But here is the key. If you adjust your expectations and your daily habits, you can still have good quality rest. Let me tell you a story. In Kerala, there is an 82-year-old retired school teacher named Meera. For 2 years after turning 80, she kept worrying that something was wrong. She could not stay awake past 9 p.m. and every morning she was wide awake at 5:30 a.m. She also found herself wanting to take a short nap after lunch. She thought it was a sign of poor health. But when she visited her doctor, he explained that this was completely normal. Instead of fighting it, Meera decided to work with her new rhythm. She moved her most important activities, like reading, replying to letters, or doing light yoga, into the morning when her energy was at its highest. She planned her social visits and phone calls in the early afternoon. And when she felt drowsy after lunch, she allowed herself a 20-minute rest without guilt. By evening, she wound down with simple activities, dimmed the lights an hour before bed, and accepted her early bedtime as natural. The result, Meera felt more energetic and productive than she had in years. She realized that trying to keep her old schedule was like swimming against the current. Working with her body's new rhythm felt like moving with the flow of the river. If you are noticing these changes in your own life, here are 3 simple ways to adapt. First, track your energy for 1 week. Keep a small notebook. Write down the times of day you feel most alert and the times you feel naturally tired. This will help you see your own peak periods. Second, match your most important tasks to your high energy times. If mornings are when you feel sharp, that is the time for reading, writing, walking, or any activity that matters most to you. Third, make your evenings gentle. Reduce bright light about an hour before sleep. Avoid TV or mobile screens during this time, as their light can confuse your body's natural signals for rest. The most important mindset shift is this: your body is not failing you. It is adapting. It is running on a schedule that is actually more efficient for this stage of life. You are not losing energy, you are simply receiving it in a different pattern. Think of it like farming in India. In each season, you grow a crop that suits the weather. You do not try to grow summer crops in the monsoon season. At 80, your body is in a new season. And when you plant your activities at the right times, you get the best harvest of energy and joy. So instead of asking, why can't I stay up late anymore, try asking, how can I make the most of my mornings? When you stop resisting and start optimizing, you will find that your days become more satisfying than before. Have you noticed your own energy patterns changing as you get older? Do you feel different in the mornings compared to evenings? This is a shared experience for almost everyone past 80, and knowing it is the first step to enjoying it. Now that we understand how your body's clock changes, let us look at the second big shift. This one is not about your body, it is about your relationships and how your social circle naturally transforms. The second change you will notice at 80 is in your social world. Some friendships will quietly fade, while others will grow deeper than ever before. This is not only because of health or distance. It is because your priorities are changing and your emotional energy is more precious now. At this stage of life, you may feel less drawn to large gatherings and more attracted to smaller, meaningful conversations. The neighbor you used to chat with about daily gossip might not feel as important now, while a cousin you rarely spoke to before might suddenly become a close confidant. Why does this happen? It is a kind of social filtering that the mind and heart naturally do. When you were younger, you had the time and stamina for many social contacts. Now, your brain guides you toward connections that bring true support, understanding, and joy. This is not isolation, it is optimization. Let me share an example. In Jaipur, there is an 81-year-old gentleman named Ramesh. For decades, he was part of a carom club meeting friends twice a week. But over the years, some members moved away, others had health issues, and the club dissolved. At first, Ramesh felt lonely and feared he was losing his identity. Then, his granddaughter encouraged him to join a local book discussion group at the library. At first, he was hesitant. These were mostly people he had never met before. But slowly, he realized something surprising. The new friends he made there shared his current pace of life. They valued deep conversation more than small talk. They understood the challenges and joys of his age. Within months, he found himself looking forward to these meetings far more than the old club. If you are at this stage, here are two gentle reminders. First, it is normal to let some relationships fade without guilt. Not every friendship is meant to last a lifetime. Second, do not hesitate to create new bonds. It might be through a temple group, a morning yoga class, or even volunteering at a community kitchen. By focusing on relationships that energize you rather than drain you, your social life can become more rewarding than it was in your 60s or 70s. This is not losing your friends, it is upgrading your circle. And this change connects directly to the third shift, which affects something even more profound, your entire relationship with time itself. The third change at 80 is perhaps the most powerful. It is the way you see and value time itself. When you were younger, time felt endless. Days blended into weeks, weeks into months. You could waste a day without much thought because you believed there would always be more. But once you step into your 80s, something shifts inside you. Psychologists call it a time perspective shift. It is not about feeling that time is running out. It is about finally understanding what time is truly for. At 80, you start to become selective in how you spend your hours. The things you once did out of habit, duty, or to please others suddenly feel less important. You care less about keeping up appearances or meeting expectations that do not match your values. You begin to say no more, often not out of stubbornness, but because you know your energy and your days are precious. In this stage, the fear of missing out is replaced by the joy of choosing consciously. You start to protect your mornings for activities you love rather than rushing to every request. You invest your afternoons in moments that feel meaningful, whether it is reading in the shade of a neem tree, teaching a neighbor's child maths, or walking in the park with an old friend. Let me tell you about Leela, an 83-year-old woman from Kolkata. For decades, she was deeply involved in her community association, organizing events and attending every meeting. Over time, these obligations began to feel heavy. They consumed her Sundays, leaving her little time for her garden, a small patch where she had always dreamed of planting roses. One day, she realized she had been postponing her own joy for years. So she stepped down from her committee roles. Her friends were shocked, some even disapproved. But Leela felt lighter. She began spending her mornings tending her garden, and within a year, her roses bloomed in soft pink, yellow, and red. She still saw her friends, but only when she wanted to. And when she did, she had more energy and warmth to share. This shift is not about withdrawing from life, it is about engaging with it on your own terms. And it brings two major benefits. First, it reduces stress because you are no longer overcommitted. Second, it increases joy because your time is spent on things that truly matter to you. If you want to make this shift work for you, here are a few ideas. Take 1 week to do a time audit. Write down what you do each day and how each activity makes you feel energized, neutral, or drained. Then, gently let go of the activities that drain you, even if they seem important to others. Replace them with activities that give you life. Also, allow yourself to have unstructured time. You do not always have to be productive. At 80, rest can be just as valuable as action, and quiet reflection can be as meaningful as a busy day. This is the stage of life when you have both the wisdom to know what matters and the freedom to act on it. You are no longer bound by the same pressures that shaped your earlier years. Instead, you can design each day as if it were a precious gift, because it is. When you start living according to your own sense of time, you will find that life feels richer, not shorter. And this sets the stage perfectly for the fourth change, one that happens in your mind as your memory and thinking patterns adapt in fascinating ways. When people think of aging, they often fear memory loss. But at 80, the truth about your brain is more interesting than most realize. Yes, certain changes happen. You may forget why you walked into a room or struggle to remember a name you just heard. This is because short-term memory becomes less sharp. But here is the surprising part. While your brain becomes slower at storing new short-term information, it becomes much better at connecting long-term memories and recognizing patterns. Decades of life experience have built deep networks in your mind. These networks allow you to see solutions and connections that younger people often miss. Think of it like a large banyan tree. The outer branches may grow more slowly now, but the roots are strong and deep, able to nourish wisdom that only comes with time. Take the example of Vijay, an 84-year-old retired engineer from Bengaluru. He could no longer memorize new technical codes quickly. But when his son asked for advice on a complex construction project, Vijay saw the answer almost instantly, not because of quick calculations, but because he recognized a familiar pattern from a project 40 years ago. That insight saved days of work. This is the beauty of an 80-year-old mind. It shifts from speed to depth, from quick reaction to thoughtful understanding. You may need a notebook for daily reminders, but you also have the rare ability to filter what is truly important from what is just noise. If you want to make the most of this stage, here are two simple practices. First, free your mind from holding minor details. Use notes, calendars, or even a small board at home for everyday reminders. This leaves more mental energy for the kind of thinking you excel at now: problem-solving, storytelling, and giving guidance. Second, keep your brain active in ways that use your pattern recognition strengths. Play strategy games, mentor younger people, or help in community planning. These activities keep your mind engaged while valuing your unique skills. Your thinking has not declined, it has evolved. And this evolution prepares you for the fifth and most liberating change of all: the deep sense of freedom and authenticity that comes at 80. The fifth change, and for many people the most joyful, is a deep sense of freedom. At 80, much of the pressure that shaped your earlier life simply fades away. You are no longer trying to build a career, prove yourself to others, or meet expectations that no longer matter to you. Your children are grown. Your main responsibilities are complete. And suddenly, you find yourself with the permission, perhaps for the first time, to live exactly as you wish. This freedom is not about becoming careless. It is about becoming your truest self. You may start expressing opinions you once kept quiet, wearing clothes that reflect your personality, or finally pursuing hobbies you had put aside for decades. The fear of judgment, which once influenced so many choices, becomes less important. Let me tell you about Asha, an 82-year-old from Pune. All her life she dressed in plain saris and kept her love of painting a secret. She thought it was impractical. But one day, she decided she no longer needed to hide. She began wearing bright colors, joined an art group, and even held a small exhibition at the local community hall. Her family was surprised at first, but soon they saw how much joy this brought her. Her grandchildren especially loved the new vibrant Asha, who laughed more, told bold stories, and painted in rich, joyful colors. This kind of authenticity often improves relationships. When you stop pretending and start living in a way that feels true to you, people connect with you on a deeper level. You waste less energy on keeping up appearances and have more to give to the moments and people that matter. You might also make lifestyle changes, moving to a quieter home, spending more time in nature, or structuring your days around what energizes you instead of what is expected. The key is to identify where you have been living according to others' rules and gently replace those with choices that reflect your own values. At 80, you have earned the wisdom to know what matters and the courage to live it. This sense of freedom is the gift that ties together all the other changes: your energy rhythms, your refined social circle, your new relationship with time, and your evolved thinking. Together, they make this stage of life not just manageable, but deeply fulfilling. When you step into your 80s, it is easy to think of it as the beginning of decline. But after looking at these 5 changes closely, we can see the truth. It is not a downward slope, it is a transformation. Your energy and sleep patterns shift not to take away your strength, but to give you a schedule that works better for your current body. You learn to work with your mornings and rest when needed, making each day more productive and peaceful. Your social circle changes not to leave you lonely, but to free you from relationships that no longer serve you. You find deeper connections, more meaningful conversations, and the comfort of being with those who truly understand where you are in life. Your relationship with time changes. You become selective, saying no when you must and yes when it truly matters. This brings relief from unnecessary stress and gives space for joy and purpose. Your memory and thinking evolve. While short-term recall may fade, your mind gains the wisdom to see patterns, understand complexity, and give advice that younger generations value deeply. You move from speed to depth, from quick reaction to thoughtful insight. And finally, your freedom and authenticity bloom. You begin to live as your true self, wearing what you like, speaking your mind, exploring hobbies without fear of judgment. You stop living under rules that no longer fit and instead create a life that reflects who you truly are. Together, these changes form a complete picture. They are not warnings to be afraid of, they are invitations to live in a new way. Think of it like a well-tended garden in late bloom. The flowers may not be as fresh as in spring, but they carry a deeper fragrance, a richer color, and a beauty that comes only with time. Your 80s can be like that, a season of richness, wisdom, and deep satisfaction. So if you are already here or on the way, remember, you are not becoming less. You are becoming more in ways that truly matter. The key is to understand these changes, embrace them, and build your daily life around them. And if you have loved ones in this stage, share this knowledge. Help them see that they are entering one of the most meaningful decades of life. Your 80-year-old self is not a reduced version of you. It is the optimized version, streamlined for wisdom, for connection, for peace, and for joy. So step into this chapter with confidence. It is not the end of the story. It is the moment the story becomes the most authentic it has ever been.